episode 034 with David Pomeranz. This episode was brought to you by the Singing Mastery Masterclass. I created this free masterclass because I wanted to share with you the 3 steps to help you level up your singing voice and skyrocket your performance. It's a free training, so all you need to do is click on the show notes. There's going to be a link in the show notes and just enter your details. And if you stay to the very end of that training, I'm going to give you my 3 vocal scales that really help nail those high notes with so much more ease. So I hope to see you guys in that training. I hope you enjoyed this episode with David. It's one of my favorites, and I actually interviewed him many years ago. So this is the recording from that. You know, when I listen back to it, I just think, what a giving person he is. You know, it was the very, very first time that I had interviewed someone for my podcast, and he was just so gracious and again, just an incredible soul, and it shows as well in his performances. And speaking of his performances, his concert will be on the 31st of May, and I'm really, really excited because I'm going to be singing a duet with him and also doing his backing vocals with a friend of mine, Stephen Celeste. And we'll be also working with a few other fine musicians and Ronnie Dundon, who is the musical director for the night. We're going to be at the State Theatre, and I'm so excited about that because the last time I was there, I was watching The Lion King, and that was so many years ago. I actually went there with some band members, Gordon Hunt and Calvin, and Gordon Hunt was the owner of the band, and he treated us to that musical because we did so well at one of the wedding expos that we performed at. So yeah, that was the last time, and my very first time was in year 10 when I watched Debbie Gibson. So that was a very, very long time ago, but I'm so excited to be there to really just relish on that stage and just be immersed in all that energy that David provides, and the audience. I'm sure that it's going to be amazing. So he's going to be joined with Melissa Manchester, who was quite famous in the 80s as well. If you're at the concert, please come and say hello to me. Hopefully we get a chance to say hi, and let me know if you're going. And if you do want to go, tickets are still available at ticketmaster.com.au. Now let me tell you about all the amazing things that David has done. Now in 1999, David recorded the CD Born For You, and it was like a compilation of all the best songs of past and new love songs, and it actually became the 13th best-selling album of all time in the Philippines. So he's huge in the Philippines. He's always on the TV shows and he's always doing concerts there. Now, David has also written amazing songs. One of them, Trying to Get That Feeling Again, and The Old Songs, and they're both recorded by Barry Manilow. And there's also a song called It's in Every One of Us, which was featured in the TV specials of John Denver and the Muppets, A Christmas Together, and A Muppet Family Christmas, which I probably watched when I was younger, but I had no idea those songs are on it. And that song has also been in the musical Time and the film Big, and also it was featured in the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, Korea. Now, his work has been performed by diverse artists such as Bette Midler, Freddie Mercury, Richie Sambora, Missy Elliott, The Carpenters, Harry Belafonte, Donna Summer, and the Hollies, and Cliff Richard. And his various songwriting projects have amassed a total of 22 platinum and 18 gold albums. That's just amazing. He also sung the song, which I remember very, very clearly, Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now, which was the theme song for the television series Perfect Strangers. That was one of my favorite shows on TV. So here you go. Without further ado, here's David Pomeranz. Welcome to One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host, Tina Bangel, vocal coach and professional vocalist. In each episode, we bring you an inspiring person doing wonders in the music industry today. We hope to give you motivating messages to help you navigate towards your musical dreams. I'm so grateful you're here, and now let's give you something to sing about.
I'm ready to be videoed.
Okay. What are some of your secrets that you can pass on, if you have any?
I wouldn't call them secrets, especially after I pass them on during my book. I don't have any. There are obviously two things, and it's probably not unlike any artist. You have a passion for something, you love it, you love to do it. And with me in particular, there was nothing else I ever wanted to do. Mm. So when I was a very, very young boy, maybe 4 years old or whatever, I was, well on the way. I'd made some decisions that I wanted to be near this beautiful, amazing music that was inspiring me so much.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was pop music at the time, but also theater music, a lot of Broadway music, West Side Story, and things. It moved me very, very deeply, and so it just drove me along. And if there's a secret. Mm-hmm. It's just that I work hard at it and do it as much as I can. And when I'm not doing it as much as I can, I feel amiss. I feel like I'm not doing my job. Mm-hmm. So I need to be performing and writing and creating as much as possible in this lifetime. Yeah. And so that's the thing that I think in terms of success. Mm-hmm. That's number one. It's the drive and the love of it and the have to of it in a good way.
And it's interesting how you said that you had that inkling at the age of 4.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So what were you introduced to at that age? Like were your parents very much into music and?
Very musical and very wonderful artists. Oh, there's something hanging from my hat. It's a little beeble. Oh, there you go. It's a whirling dervish. No. I had, I'm from New York, and so we lived outside of Manhattan, and so I saw a lot of music and a lot of theater growing up. I was very privileged in that way, and my parents always played records at home, and it was every kind of music you'd imagine. It was anything from Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky, to Harry Belafonte and Judy Garland, to rock and roll, to Frank Sinatra, to West Side Story and My Fair Lady, to
Beautiful.
Everything.
Yeah.
Every Western music. I mean, they weren't. I don't know that they would have. I never remember hearing many ragas in my house. Not a lot of Ravi Shankar when I was growing up, but the Western music was and all kinds, and I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with how it brought the family together too, because we would sit around the piano. My mom would play piano. My dad is a great singer, and my sister is also an excellent singer, and we'd sit and we'd harmonize. My mom would play the pop songs of the day, and we'd split out harmonies and like that. So I was very fortunate to be with those people, and so when I decided I would do this, it was never a question. They went, oh great, we'll be there. And my mom to this day, when I have a musical opening or I'm doing a major concert, and if it's anywhere possibly travelable, she's there.
Yeah.
She actually goes,
great.
Even to this day. It's quite lovely.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. I saw on your post this morning that you've been doing some songwriting, and you've written songs for many amazing performers like Barry Manilow and Bette Midler, and so how did that come about? How did it start, and who did you surround yourself with to be able to reach to those performers and with your songs?
Well, in terms of the nuts and bolts of the business, it's for the most part, it helps to get hooked up with some power. In my case, it was a music publisher. It was Warner Brothers in Los Angeles. And I was recording for Arista Records. It was Clive Davis, who's legendary, and so, you get hooked up to, that's the other aspect of the success. Obviously, you got to love it and do it, but you also have to, it's a very people-oriented sport, and you get out, you're very, very outgoing and friendly, and when you make relationships, it's very important. So I made some very good relationships early on. And through those relationships, my songs were heard by other major artists, and sometimes they were taken off of my own albums or whatever. But I set it up so that I was in a major distribution pool of power. And look how big my hands are.
I know, that's why I keep my hands down here, because my...
It's good, eh? You don't want to come near my nose, however. That's...
Yeah, I think that's important, isn't it?
You can do it yourself, but it's better, obviously, with power around.
Yeah, and networking as well, and
exactly. It's getting to know people, being friendly, have them know you, have them like your music.
Yeah.
And also I tell people, who's starting out, and they say, "What should I do?" And well, are you a performer? Yes. So play everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Play at a bar mitzvah and your mother's cousin's birthday, and everywhere. Just play, and that way. So not only do you get good that way, but that increases your chances of being seen, and have somebody in the audience or a friend of someone who is in power. And that happened a lot in my early career, especially where I would go to school with someone whose grandfather was the lawyer for Capitol Records in LA, and this sort of thing. And they were fans of mine because I played locally, and that's
great.
They'd hook me up to, and then that person would hook me up to that person, who hooked me up to that person.
Yeah.
So it's just being out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice.
On a purely creative, aesthetic level, great.
Yeah.
On a nuts and bolts, getting down into the mud level,
yeah,
it's light lifting. You got to confront people. You're a brilliant performer, and you got brilliant by doing it in front of real live people. A lot,
and making mistakes.
Sure. That's the whole point. And then sorry, go ahead.
And feeling embarrassed and just getting over that hurdle.
Of course, but it's a muscle that you develop by encounter. A real audience with real people. So I'm fine that with creation. Anything creative. And I'm not saying you have to be on the front lines and have to have that visceral experience all the time. But and look, also making a film or making a video, you're putting your reputation on the line too. It's not. It's a different kind of commitment or a different kind of bravery.
Yeah.
Creating something and then putting it out there for the whole world to see. That takes some guts,
It does, but it's a nice stepping stone as well, isn't it? YouTube.
Sure. Wow. Yeah. It's incredible, really. You can really become a sensation just by being great, and you don't even have to go through the distribution channels or the getting permission from anybody. You just sort of go direct into the bloodstream. There's a poetry in that. I think that's great.
What about setbacks? How do you deal with setbacks?
Keep your eye on the mountain, I guess. You have dream, or you have an urge to communicate, or whatever your purpose is, and just keep the eye on the mountain. And then the other idea, you know what? I'm going to get you something. Okay. Hold on, this is amazing. It's worth it. I was given a thing. It says 24 qualities that geniuses have in common, and it names it names 24 things that it's a beautiful thing. I'm not going to read them all.
Okay.
But there's one in particular regarding what you're saying here is devotion to goals. This is quality number 3. Geniuses know what they want and they go after it. Mm. Get control of your life and schedule. Have something specific to accomplish each day. Persuasion. This is another. It has to do with what you're asking. The business and how do you keep going?
Yeah.
Geniuses know how to motivate people to help keep them ahead. You'll find it easy to be persuasive if you believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Dynamic energy. Don't sit on your butt waiting for something good to happen. Be determined to make it happen.
That's
these are qualities that people that are really successful seem to have. Optimism. Geniuses never doubt they will succeed. I love this one. Deliberately focus your mind on something good coming up.
Yeah.
So when you're knocked on your duff and things are rough, and that even rhymes, you plug into that sort of thing. You plug into the motor, the reason you're doing it anyway. You may want to take a walk and shake it off and look around and make sure you just kind of come back to present time a little bit. Mm-hmm. Whatever you do to do that, have a good night's sleep or whatever, and then wake up in the morning and you go, you know what? Let's give it another whack today. You know, let's give it a real hard whack. It's a viewpoint.
No, that's great. I'll have to get that off you.
Yes.
List.
I'll share it with you. I don't have the author's name exactly, but I will. I'll get that for you.
That'd be great. And then,
right, like a Disney movie, or like 42nd Street or something.
Yeah. So
you're on. It's your chance.
Yeah.
The lead actress sprained her ankle. You're going to go on. Mm. But the understudy had to work hard to be an understudy and to be in that position. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. I think if there's anything that I wouldn't say disagree with but that I question is when I talk to some young people, mm-hmm. they have the viewpoint that you're talking about a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, I'm going to give this a try now. I'll give this a try. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work after a year, I'll look at something else. Mm. Or that kind of thing. And it's like, there's no motor, it's like, why? Because you want to be famous, or you want to be on American Idol or Australian, or what's the point? What are you trying to do? Where's it coming from? Inside out, or you want to be admired by people? Is that the purpose?
Yeah.
And it just seems like that it's an urge to communicate, and that's the thing that keeps you going.
Mm. Yeah, that's right. That communication, and the reason, I guess, why. I think that's important to know what's your message.
Well, it's an urge. It's an urge to create. I don't know if there's an answer to that. Mm-hmm. Maybe everyone has their own answer, but for me, I just know it's just something I got to do because I love it and want to, and I feel it's valuable. And I was given some talent or an opportunity to do something with this, and so if I squandered it or wasted it, to me, that's what a sin is. Mm-hmm. If you have an opportunity to help or to do something, we all have talent. We all are given something. Yeah. It's almost like someone's whispering in the ear and saying, "Here, go. Have this grow this."
Yeah.
And so you go out and grow. My days are often different. When I'm on tour, well, you know what that's like. That's hotels and sound checks and performances and meet and greets and food and
lots of food.
Answering emails at 3 a.m. and that's right. That, and then writing is a different regiment. I'm a student as well. I study all sorts of things. I study Scientology. This is one thing I enjoy reading and going to. I take courses in this, which I enjoy. And other endeavors I like to read about and learn about. So I fill some of each day with study.
Right.
Studying something.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's listening to a piece of music that I admire and trying to figure out what that composer did. You know? It doesn't have to be formal in a chair at a desk. It's always different. Mm-hmm. I don't get a lot of break time. My wife will tell you about that. We've talked about that recently. We should take more vacations.
Yeah.
And I know I probably should.
Do you ever say no to things, or do
sure.
you? Yeah. How do you balance that? Because I know, because I'm working at the moment with Lionel Cole, and he's been helping me produce some songs. And he's
sure.
on the
Lionel. I met Lionel when I was out there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah. So he's got so many things happening because he's on The Voice now, and things are popping up. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So he's got everybody coming to him right now.
Yeah. Trying to juggle business and life, and trying to take care of yourself, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. How do you go about doing that with your schedule? And
that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I try to stay healthy, and I probably drink a little too much coffee and such, you know. But I, you know, just try to keep the energy up. And I know that my energy being up has a lot to do with being excited about what I'm doing. And I need enough sleep. I don't often get enough sleep. That's the other thing. Yeah. What were you asking? See, I'm not getting enough sleep, so I don't remember what you just asked me.
Yeah, sleep. So, yeah. How do you look after yourself?
Oh, that's. Yeah. Well, I drink it. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that's how I look at it. I just, you know, I try to understand that I have a body here.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have this body, the good thing would be I could do a lot. I could probably do a lot more. The bad thing is I couldn't access the physical universe because I wouldn't have one of these things. So I'd just be floating around something or other. But I try to take care of my body. Exercise and rest and food is vital to me.
And your wife's cooking you a healthy dinner.
Yes, she does. She's a good cook, and and it helps to have a good wife too, and a good relationship. We have a lovely son who's going to be 13 in a couple of weeks, and we're very blessed. 5 tips. Okay. I don't know. Should I put on my glasses? If I had glasses, I'd put them on now, but I don't wear glasses. 5 tips. Always wear your glasses. The tip would, well, I said 2 of them. One is love what you do.
Love what you do.
And dedicate yourself to it. Immerse yourself in it. Listen to your heroes. A lot of your students they're performers, yes? They're singers.
Yes. Yeah.
And you must expose them to the greats of the past, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Because, you know, a lot of kids now, they just don't know anything or much before 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's not that's, you know, me being old and going, those kids, you know, they don't appreciate that. But actually, as an artist, if you study Rembrandt, if you were a painter, you'd study Gauguin, you'd study all the forms and all the schools and all of the centuries of this. And then you practice on them and you trace them. You make a Van Gogh. You make one. You get what kind of behind what they did, and then you got all that stuff in your toolbox or your tool belt. And then you go out and you create you in terms of you, but you've got this in back of you, so you can pull it out if you want. You can use it. Mm-hmm. And it deepens you, and it gives I find that it gives a musician, it gives the singing and the songwriting more weight, more finesse. Finesse is a good word, I think. Yeah. It's and the finesse comes from practice and observation. And so, what are you observing? If you're just observing rap music, or you're just observing what's on Australian Idol, if you're just observing pop music, then fine. but that's as far as it'll go.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you study all of it and just know that it's there, you go out there and be yourself, and you have it in your system, and it's so you asked me for 5.
Okay, so you've got 2.
so it's the passion and all that I just said. And then it's the being willing to be seen and know people. I think liking people helps.
Yeah.
You just naturally would be interested in other people. It's interesting. There's a misunderstanding about connecting with people. And, I was mentioning Scientology, and I mentioned it. I'm not a proselytizer of religions and such, but I find this guy Hubbard so useful, right? It's just incredibly useful. He talks about conditions of life, and that everything's in a condition. When you get a car and it's all beat up, it's in a bad condition. You get a car, it's a nice, squeaky, clean condition. It's in a better condition, and it works better. He discovered that there are conditions of life. So you want to make it in the music business, let's say. Well, how do you go from here to there? And there are actual formulas, steps that you could apply. It's in a book, it's, whatever. And you go and you do that thing. And basically their observations that he made about their natural laws of life. There's nothing he invented. It's how it works, how life works. Anyway, that's the preface to what I'm about to say. There's one condition called non-existence, which a lot of artists start in. Nobody knows them. They have a dream, but nobody knows about that dream but themselves, right? And there are steps to non-existence. I won't give it away. You should find it out. But basically, you would want to find out what the other person needs and wants. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because most artists try to say, well, this is what I want.
Right. Yeah.
So here, I want a record deal. I want you to record my song. Here's what I want. And it's backwards. It doesn't work. What works is you find somebody to talk to. You make yourself known. Hi, I'm Tina. And you find out what's needed and wanted by the other guy. And then the other guy says, you know what? I'm looking for an old school R&B singer. There aren't enough of them. That's what I want, right? And you go, oh, well, I can do that. Let's say, and really, yeah, I can give you what you want. Okay. And then the last step is you do produce and deliver that.
Right.
And then you're instantly in a better condition with that person. You've given him what he wants. You've given it to him. And now you got a partner. Now you have a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a matter of meeting people.
Yeah.
Being known. Hi, here's me. And finding out what they're looking for. You ask them, what are you looking for? Not what do I have that you're going to want. That's what all artists do, and it's a mistake. And I've made that mistake. I can't even count how many times I make that mistake. Yeah, yeah. And then you deliver what it is that they've asked for, provided it's in keeping with something that's you have to have your own integrity.
Yes.
So you don't. Yes. Yeah, you don't want if they say, well, we want murder, screamy, druggy stuff, you wouldn't do that. But yeah. But that's the idea. So it's knowing people and finding out what's needed and wanted by them and producing those things. One will find them that much closer to having power relationships that will elevate their dreams and take them closer. Right, that's 3. 4 and 5. Sleep and eat. Yeah. Doll. I'm Jewish. I know about these things. Get lots of sleep. Make sure you eat a nice breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes a difference when your brain works. And I noticed that yesterday. I did some recording, and we had lunch, and then I came back and I sang the song so much better.
Well, lots of stuff. Every week is different, and I have a few things coming up. I'm going to Nashville next week, and then I go to New York. I'm going to perform at the Filipino Independence Day celebration in New York.
Oh, wow.
They do a big one. They do a 100,000 people hoo-ha.
Oh, my gosh.
The street. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Wow.
And then I'm going to go to the Philippines for a very special secret project. I can't say what it is, but you'll hear about it soon. And it's exciting. I'm writing some musicals. And we're workshopping them. For those of you who write musicals, often you write them, but you have to sort of see them on its feet. So you have a thing called a reading or a workshop where you get actors and the writers sit back, and sometimes there's other people in the room, and you watch the work being performed, and you know instantly what's working and what isn't working. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes
the thing that you thought would work the very best, oh, that's going to be hilarious, and then the audience just goes.
No.
And other things that is just you have no attention on, it just brings the house down, and you learn this way. So then you go and you rewrite again, and well, Scandalous was a different kind of a thing. It was with Kathy Lee Gifford, who you know, yes, from the Today Show, and David Friedman, who's another wonderful composer, and we're both friends with Kathy, and she wrote all the lyrics, and all the script. And David and I each split 10 songs. So I wrote the music to 10 songs. He wrote the music to 10 songs. And it was over a period of 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, to bring it to Broadway. And it's not actually terribly unusual. Mm-hmm. These things take a long time. And I think that's why a lot of theater writers work on several projects at the same time.
You're allowed to say. It's secret.
I can't say it. I'm working on several.
Yeah.
One is for families.
Yeah.
And one is a Broadway show. Anyway, I can't really say. I hate to say stuff. Because then people they start asking me, so how's that show coming, Dave? And I'm like totally embarrassed because it's been 3 years since I told them. I can't stand that. You know how that is, right? You're working on something. I'm making an album. Hey, great. And then something happens and
that's right.
It takes another year. And so where's the album? So I just shut up.
Yeah. Oh,
I love that song.
Yeah.
I love that song. I didn't write it. It was written by Jesse Frederick and Bennett Salve. They wrote a lot of theme songs for shows in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire this up for you. Hold on. You talk amongst yourselves. Hold on a minute. Yeah, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Hold on a minute. Here it is.
Yay.
Standing tall on the wings of my dream. Rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Through the rain and thunder, the wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. It's my life and my dream, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
Yay!
Great song, right?
That's beautiful.
Okay, you didn't ask for it, but there it is anyway.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you so much, David.
Oh, Tina, what a pleasure. You're such a good friend and a lovely person. It's always wonderful talking to you.
Oh, thank you. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Thank you. Do very well, and send my love to your family, and we'll see you sooner than later, I hope, okay?
Yeah, that'll be lovely. David, have a good night. Isn't he just amazing? I hope you can join us for the concert on the 31st of May at the State Theatre in Sydney. Tickets are available at ticketmaster.com.au, and thank you again for listening. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend, and hopefully it will inspire them to, pursue their music and pursue their dreams of becoming a performer. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.